And welcome back, All Sports Western New York. Our guest in studio, Amy Moritz from the Buffalo News. And not only does Amy cover the Bisons, but during the colder months, she covers college hockey. And it's going to be very exciting for Canisius because they're going to have a brand new facility when the Harbor Center is finished. They're going to play their games right downtown, right next to the First Niagara Center in the Harbor Center. What do you think that's going to do to their program?
It's going to be tremendous for their program. It's going to be a great facility. Facilities, we're told are very important in recruiting. I don't know. I haven't talked to a whole lot of high school kids to how important those facilities are, but certainly they are important in getting quality players there and in playing in first-class arenas. So it's going to help in drawing people there, and I think it's just going to increase the experience, the overall experience, both for the players, I think also for the other teams coming in, for the fans. I think that it's just going to create a much better atmosphere for that program. Buff State was a great home for them, and they were very good to Canisius for many years. But I think having their own space and their own logo and dedicated to them is going to just really help increase that level of the program. Now,
not too long ago, well, I guess back in the 90s, so it was a while ago, when Niagara launched their program with Blaise McDonald and they had the Dwyer Arena, and they really were much ahead of Canisius as far from a recruiting standpoint, from a facility standpoint. Niagara really seemed to have made a commitment to make college hockey a strong Division I program, and they have certainly had their success. But Canisius now appears to have caught up and may have passed them as far as facilities and as far as the panache of where to play locally, if you're going to be a Division I hockey player.
It's really become an interesting dynamic, and Canisius, as you said, has closed the gap. When Niagara started, they were in College Hockey America, which now no longer exists on the men's side. They were fully funded, so they had more scholarship money, and so when they changed their affiliation, when they had to find a new home, a new conference home, and went to Atlantic Hockey, they had to reduce their number of scholarships. And that takes some time, I think, to just work out the kinks, is how that goes as far as recruiting goes. It changes the way you recruit, for sure. It changes the athletes that you bring in. So I think that Niagara's gone through some growing pains, actually, in changing its conference alignment. And in the meanwhile, Canisius has invested in their hockey program. So while Niagara's kind of figuring out and where they're going and getting used to Atlantic Hockey, and last year they went to the NCAA tournament as an at-large team, so certainly that they figured some things out. But Canisius has definitely put an investment in, and it's a really interesting rivalry now. It's much more of a level playing field than I think it's ever been,
right,
in the last few years, and it's really exciting to kind of watch them go at each other.
Well, I think Niagara in general, but just my own personal opinion, I think they're having an identity crisis as to where they want to be athletically as a Division I college. They've had some setbacks with their basketball program, and I think from a funding standpoint, they've got a new president, so I think they're going to have to, they just hired a brand new athletic director, they're going to have to kind of get that all together. But, there were so many people up that way excited about their hockey program. And now I think it's great, though, for competition to have Canisius right there with them, and I think everybody's excited to see what this Harbor Center is going to bring. And ECC is going to be playing their games down there as well, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes. That that will be exciting, and I think you're right about Niagara. They've gone through a couple of athletic directors, their basketball program. They're going through a transition right now overall. They dropped women's hockey, so they're going through a transition to see where they're going to fit. And I also don't think that college hockey conference realignment is done. I think that Canisius, Niagara, Robert Morris, Mercyhurst, I know I'm missing a couple others, would love to go to a fully funded conference, meaning that they have full scholarship levels. So I think that they would love. I think that there's going to be some more shifting that goes along college hockey. So we haven't quite seen the end of that. But when you have Canisius improving their program, that forces Niagara to up its game and make some improvements in Dwyer, which used to be the best arena around. Now it's still a very, very good arena, but now it needs to be updated a little bit more to keep pace with everybody else.
Now, we were talking during the break, Pat LaFontaine, who unceremoniously left the Sabres, but his son had committed to Canisius. Now, not next year, but the year after?
The year after, yes. He's got one more year of juniors. I believe he'll still be with the junior Sabres. I'm not positive on that. But he's got one more year of juniors, and he's verbally committed for the following year at Canisius.
And that'll be exciting.
It'll be exciting. Well, and there's some really, great players. I mean, obviously, Canisius has Shane Conacher, so Corey Conacher's younger brother,
Right.
who during the playoffs was playing some of his best hockey, and already has more points than his brother had as a freshman. So not that there's a lot of brother competition there. So there's some really exciting players at Canisius, and at Niagara there were some great freshmen this year. Vince Muto was really great, and TJ Sarcona also had a really great year too. So there's a lot of young players on both teams that are really starting to come into their own and are exciting to watch.
Well, the vision for the Sabres and the Pagulas, and now with John Coleman with that with that Harbor Center, is to make Buffalo the American city for amateur hockey. And they're doing a lot of events coming up, and they announced last week they've got a women's tournament coming, and they've got the sled hockey coming. But they really want the youth hockey to use that facility as the mecca, so to speak, for local hockey.
Yes, and they've got the Academy of Hockey. I think it's called the Academy of Hockey or Hockey Academy there, and they're doing a lot of programming. They want to make it for youth hockey players, and I think they want to expand that. So whether you're a youth hockey player or whether you're training at an elite level and are older, they're really looking at innovative ways that sort of take everything together. So it's not just let's throw out some pucks and go play, but really doing some innovative things.
Well, we're all out of time, but Amy, thanks so much for coming down. Remember, if you can get that photo of Jim McCoy in the stands dressed in a Star Wars outfit.
I'm all over it.
I want to see that.
I got
all
it.
Right. Thanks for being on the program.
Thank you.
We'll be back to wrap up All Sports West New York right after this.